Hello and welcome to the final episode of IBI On Site. I'm your host, Hayden Grove, and admittedly, today is a bit of a tough day. It's been an amazing summer bringing you folks all you need to know about the Indians throughout the organization, from Mahoning Valley all the way up here to Cleveland. But today's going to be kind of a celebration. Jim Thome is having his statue unveiled. We're going to have a special presentation on that. We're also going to talk to Jim Berdysz right away about everything going on at the current moment. Take a look. All right, we're going to start today's show off with none other than the Birdman himself, Jim Berdysz from Indians Baseball Insider, Indians beat reporter. How have you been this summer thus far?
Been great. I mean, for the season aside, been a fun summer.
Now, you said a while back the Indians were going to catch a bit of a hot streak, but we're still sitting here at 500, around the 500 mark. When is this team going to really get going before we get into specifics?
Oh, maybe the month of August. Who knows? I mean, they put up 12 yesterday, but maybe it could be just a flip of a calendar type thing. We'll see how it plays out.
Speaking of flipping the calendar, the Indians flipped the month of July into August with a couple trades. Justin Masterson and Asdrubal Cabrera saying goodbye to Cleveland, on to different things. Masterson being traded to the St. Louis Cardinals and Asdrubal Cabrera being traded to the Washington Nationals. Now, what do those moves mean for this team? I mean, obviously the prospects could make an impact in the future that they got, but what does it mean for this team right now? Because a lot of fans are thinking white flag.
I mean, I wouldn't say white flag right off the bat. I mean, obviously, with Masterson and Cabrera being free agents at the end of the year, they were going to lose them. So might as well get something for them back and just hope for the best and play the season out. Now, it's kind of disappointing, because I know there were talks that they could be in line for a pitcher at the deadline too. There was talk they could trade for a guy, but it didn't work out. So they got to hope for the best for a guy like TJ House, who's coming up now. Is going to be play an important role for this team down the stretch. And Salazar's been looking great too. So maybe as far as pitching side, that's what they're going to have to rely on.
Now, on the other side of the offensive side, the defensive and offensive, not pitching side, Asdrubal Cabrera will leave a little bit of a hole, but not too big a hole. But what's going to happen? I'm more interested to see what's going to happen with who's going to play there. Is it going to be J-Ram? Is it going to be Mike Aviles? Is it going to be Francisco Lindor? I don't think so, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a mix between Aviles and J-Ram right now. Aviles has been looking actually pretty good of late. But once September rolls around, though, that's when Lindor and the hype will start with him. So he'll be called up then.
All right, so on this pitching staff right now, we got a lot of guys, as you said, that are kind of pushing their way up, making their name known. But there are guys that we've known that are kind of falling back, Zach McAllister being the first. What do you see the problem is with him? He's been just pitching a lot of fastballs. I think that's the way to start, at least.
I was just going to say that same exact thing. I mean, he's just fastball. I mean, you're not relying on your secondary pitches can cost you. I mean, the same thing with Salazar, too, but he said yesterday, I know that he has been working on his secondary pitches in the minors, and then now he got called up and is making an impact in the big leagues with him too. But yeah, McAllister, I mean, who knows? He's got to maybe make the same adjustments as Salazar did, but I think right now it's almost like you can kind of scratch him off the rest of the season to me. I don't think he's coming back, and just to see how maybe play out in 2015 with him.
Right, he was designated for assignment yesterday. That was August 1st, so we'll see what happens if he does come back. But there's a guy who has come back in a big way following a good 2013 season. Corey Kluber pitched an absolute gem the other night. 85 pitches, 9 innings, complete game shutout. Outdueled King Felix. I mean, what can you say about this guy right now outside of he's just absolutely fantastic?
You can almost run out of words to describe him. I mean, he's been on a tear. It's crazy how this guy wasn't even an all-star. I mean, when you put in that perspective. But he's an ace. I mean, to tell you, who knows what next year holds, but he's showing signs of becoming a really true ace that Masterson couldn't be. I mean, at least that he didn't step up to be when he was here. So hopefully only good things to come.
Right, and Corey Kluber, you just said something that kind of... He wasn't an all-star. I mean, this is a guy that could possibly win 20 games, and he wasn't an all-star. I mean, I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah, I doubt he'd win, but Cy Young too. I mean, he's going to get votes for that, and it's insane how that's what baseball is, though. With the voting system, it's a mess. Who knows?
Barring last night's 12-run outburst, this offense has been kind of slowing as of late. What are you seeing from a couple guys that gives us hope, if anything?
Jan Gomes has been really putting up swinging a bit good stick of late. Now he's raised his batting average to like 280, close to a little bit above 280. but he's going to carry the load in the second half. Even Murphy, 4 hits last night. He's been saying that he's kind of found a little niche in his swing that he's kind of been using, and it's only helped him. Santana kind of cooled off, but he's carried the team last couple series too with his power. Obviously, that's their power is from Santana. But like you said before, I mean, maybe Aviles and J-Ram can step up. Even Roberto Perez. I mean, I've seen it's been solid, with playing time. So I guess we'll just see what September holds in August too. So
yeah, Carlos Santana has been almost as unconscious as Corey Kluber at the plate. What have you seen from him specifically? Was it just a matter of time thing when he was struggling at the beginning of this year? Was it just something that was going to happen eventually?
I think, yeah. I mean, you only can, it all evens out at the end, you think. So, although, his power numbers, who would have thought? I think he can maybe touch 30 this year in home run wise, but if he doesn't, hey, just hit 260, 25 home runs, 85 RBI. I'll take that any day of the week.
Right, and there's another power guy that we're honoring, the Indians are honoring today out in center field, Jim Thome. I know growing up he was my idol. Admittedly, I can't deny that. I wore the high socks for every game, so kind of a nice moment for me. But any Thome memories out of you?
He was my idol too. I had the high socks. I was playing baseball in Little League. It's hard not to like the guy. He's just a down-to-earth guy, one of the best guys you'll ever meet in the game. For people who say that the whole statue thing is he shouldn't be honored. Listen, I mean, he's 7th all time in home runs. He did come back in 2011 with the trade. If he didn't want to come back, okay, maybe then you'd say something. But he always calls his place his home, no matter even if he left. That team was, rebuilding at the time too. I mean, you really think it wouldn't have mattered even if he would have stayed. They wouldn't have contended. But like I said, just a down-to-earth guy. Definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion, for sure.
Right. Well, the thing is that a lot of fans want a 97 kind of memorial or a 90s memorial with everyone. And I don't think you can really pin down one guy, but if there is one guy, it's Jim Thome, because a lot of the other guys had off-the-field things, or maybe they weren't as good statistically. I mean, you could certainly look at a guy like Omar Vizquel. Maybe he deserves a statue. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say maybe Omar too, but I mean, as far as defensive-wise, if they're going to honor Thome as offensive, maybe defensive, maybe Omar doing a flip, the double play or something in a statue down the line. But because he will be Hall of Famer too. But I think Thome's well represented as the 90s teams, you can say for sure.
All right, well, whether it's deserved or not, Jim Thome will be getting a statue out there in center field. And after the break, we're going to take an inside look at all that happened with the ceremony and even when he spoke to the media afterward. Jim, thanks so much for coming on today. Give yourself a little plug, little Twitter handle to action.
Follow me at jbirdman27.
That's it.
I guess, yeah.
It's easy as that. All right, we'll be back with more from IBI On Site.
Hi, this is Tony Lastoria from Indians Baseball Insider. The new 2014 Cleveland Indians Baseball Insider Top 100 Prospects and More book is now available at IndiansBaseballInsider.com, Amazon.com, and also local retail outlets at the Lake County Captains and the Mahoning Valley Scrappers team store.
This is IBI's Jim Piascik, encouraging you to check out my weekly piece, The War Room. The War Room runs every Sunday, bringing you the kind of advanced stats for Cleveland's minor leaguers you can't find anywhere else. So please join me each Sunday, and let me take you into the War Room.
Welcome back to IBI On Site, and as you can see behind me, the Jim Thome statue has already been unveiled here at Progressive Field, but there were so many things that happened today that I want to take you through each and every one. So without further ado, we're going to take a look at Jim Thome's special day. With Thome Statue 3 years in the making, set to be unveiled on a cloudy Saturday afternoon in downtown Cleveland, fans and familiar faces packed Progressive Field for what was sure to be a historic day for the Cleveland Indians organization. Among those in attendance for Jim Thome's ceremony included former Indians players like Carlos Baerga, Richie Sexson, and Mark Clark, legendary managers Mike Hargrove and Charlie Manuel, former Indians GM John Hart, the current Cleveland Indians roster, and of course, Thome's close family and friends. The ceremony began with the quick introduction from the ceremony's MC and legendary Indians broadcaster Tom Hamilton before Tribe President Mark Shapiro stepped to the mic.
Today we unveil a statue in honor of the accomplishments I just mentioned. But more than any of those benchmarks, we celebrate Jim Thome the man as well as Jim Thome the player. When I think of Jim and think back to meeting him almost 23 years ago in Tucson, I recognize and realize how much more I appreciate him each day I am in the game today. I think about the reasons we're here today, what he represents for Cleveland Indian players now and Cleveland Indian players in the future. I think about the things beyond the objective statistics that we celebrate. We place a statue today to celebrate Jim the hitter, but also to remember his humility. The fact that he treats all people without qualification. Whether it was the governor of Ohio walking in our clubhouse or the parking lot attendant, Jim treated them with no difference at all. It's rare to find a man who never changed despite elite status and achievement, who recognizes his fortune, his stature, and uses it only to lift others up.
Following Shapiro's heartfelt explanation, it was time for Thome's two favorite managers to talk about their beloved slugger. Mike Hargrove started things off, speaking of Thome's character, before Charlie Manuel made his way to the podium and told a couple of his favorite Thome tales.
Jimmy is, what you see is what you get. There's no difference in Jimmy away from the ballpark as there was at the ballpark. As a manager, I always ask my players to give me 100% of whatever effort they had that day. At times you'd have you eat a late dinner coming to the ballpark, you'd have a fight with your wife or your kids were, a pain that day, and you might have only 80%. And I ask my players to always at least give that 100% of that 80 that you got that night. I only had to tell that to Jimmy one time when he was a young kid. I never worried about Jim. I never worried what kind of effort I was going to get. I never had to look and make sure he was in the right place at the right time. Jimmy, you're the kind of guy that made my job real easy.
I like to tell a story about Jimmy in Chicago. We're playing in Chicago one night, and a guy named Hernandez is pitching, and he had good stuff, and he threw hard, and he knocks Jimmy down. He threw a ball right at Jimmy's head, and Big Jimmy goes down. And Chuck, his dad's up in the stands, and he comes running down there and screaming at Jimmy, like Jimmy's up the plate hitting. And he starts screaming. He says a few words I ain't gonna say, but at the same time he's hollering, "Get him, Jimmy, get him!" And Jimmy proceeded, hit a ball, I'd say 450 feet to right field, trotted around the bases. And Chuck, when he got to the dugout, I told Jim about it, and Chuck's up there saying, "That's the way to hit the ball, Jimmy."
With the suspense reaching its apex, it was finally time for Thome to pull the curtain and unveil the massive bronze sculpture of the slugger in his signature pose, his bat pointing straight out in front of him, staring down the next pitcher who would try to toss a fastball right by him. A choked-up Thome spoke following the unveiling of his statue, thanking all those who supported him throughout his career, especially those loyal Indians fans.
It feels so good to be home again, in this ballpark where it all began. I'm so grateful to so many individuals within the Cleveland Indians organization. Mark Shapiro, John Hart, Chris Antonetti, Curtis Danberg, and the list goes on and on. I want to thank my family. Mom and Dad, I can still see where they sat under that underhang and cheered every day like they were part of all these great fans, and they shared so many great memories with all you guys. Most importantly, I want to thank the fans. It gives me goosebumps to think back of that night in 1995, September 8th, when I caught that foul ball. And it started everything from there on. You guys always had everything in the ballpark, like the frenzy that you had every night was incredible. Thank you so much. You fans deserve a championship. These players, this organization, these coaches, Tito, these guys work hard every day to try to bring a championship here to Cleveland. And on that cold October night, when you guys finally get it, you can bet I'm going to be celebrating right with you. So thank you.
Just when it seemed as if the ceremony was coming to a close, the emotional slugger had one last thing left to do.
There's one more small order of business I want to take care of while I'm here. I haven't officially retired yet. I always had hope that I could do it as a Cleveland Indian. This afternoon, I signed an honorary one-day contract so that I can make a dream come true. I'm humbled and grateful to announce after a 25-year career, I am officially retiring tonight as a member of the Cleveland Indians. Thank you.
Following the emotional moment for friends, family, and Thome himself, number 25 made his way to a press conference to discuss the statue, his career, and his decision to retire as an official member of the Cleveland Indians.
I want to start by saying I want to thank Paul and Larry Dolan for making this honorary contract, one-day contract, a dream come true. It means the world to me that we were able to do this today, so I want to thank Paul and Larry for doing that. They've been wonderful to our family, and it's a pretty exciting day. You know, the timing was right. I had thought a lot about this. You know, I think the hardest thing is, you know, to pick a time when you're ready to walk away. When I did not retire, it's because I didn't know. You know, physically I felt good. Unfortunately, a couple, 2-3 times a year, I get some back issues that pop up. And the reality is I'm very comfortable where I'm at, being at home with my family. And it's just, the timing is right. You know, it feels good to know that you can finally do this. But again, I think the Dolans made this, you know, a big thing for me to where I wanted to retire an Indian. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's, I love the bat, pointing the bat. I love how they wrap the bat with my tape. You know, I think there's pine tar on the helmet. It's got all the unique things that I liked when I played. I think all the special times in the mid-90s, as I said, I think that was a reflection not on the individual, but more on the group. You know, and I mean the group, I mean the front office, I mean the coaches, the manager, you know, the players, you know, the people that work here. You know, you come in through the door and you have a relationship. When I came back for the last time, I think that's the most exciting part, is all those people that you remember. That's what I want the statue to reflect on, not just the individual, but everybody involved. And now I want people to walk by 50 years and go, those Cleveland Indians teams in the 90s were really, really good.
With his family in tow, Thome then made his way to the Diamond for a couple more special moments. After being recognized for the afternoon statue unveiling, Thome officially signed his one-day contract in order to officially retire as a member of the Cleveland Indians and donned a tribe uniform for one last time. Thome then took to the mound, throwing out the ceremonial first pitch to former Indians catcher and current Indians first base coach Sandy Alomar Jr. When all seemed to be said and done, once again, an unexpected moment lay ahead. As Thome walked off the field, the Indians announced that current Indians designated hitter Jason Giambi would give up number 25 for the rest of the season in honor of Thome. The two embraced following yet another special moment, and while Thome's number is yet to be retired, the expectation is that number 25 will belong to Thome and Thome alone in the coming years. All in all, the day was indeed special for Jim Thome, and it's one he won't soon forget.
You don't really ever think of getting a statue at all. It was humbling, it's honoring, and it's something, you know, I think my family will live this every day the rest of their life.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of IBI On Site, and unfortunately, IBI On Site for the rest of the summer. I'm heading back to Columbus to cover the Buckeyes, but from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you, the viewers. I want to thank Tony Lastoria, the creator of Indians Baseball Insider, for instilling in me the confidence and the trust to put this show together week after week. I want to thank every single guest that I've had on the show, from the reporters to the players to the coaches. You've all made this summer one of the most memorable and amazing summers I could have ever imagined. Thank you again for just watching the show and being there for me every step of the way. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I know I say that a lot, but I really hope you enjoyed these episodes as much as I have putting them together. Unfortunately, next week we will not be able to take you through another location within the Indians organization, but I do hope we meet again. For Indians Baseball Insider, I'm Hayden Grove.